Welcome back to Yehoshua's Daf Yomi Shiur, where the Daf continues daily until the complete revelation of Mashiach ben David, Messiah, the son of David. And we're continuing now on Daf, side B of Daf 92. 92b, we did the first line, and now we're holding by in the second line, a line or two into it. Eino nohag ba'of. Eino nohag ba'of. The Mishnah teaches in 89b that the prohibition of eating the sciatic nerve does not apply to a bird due to the fact that the verse is referring to the sciatic nerve as being upon the spoon of the thigh, Genesis 32:33, and a bird has no spoon of the thigh, whatever that means, spoon of the thigh. Bird doesn't have it. The Gemara challenges, but we see that it does have a protrusion of flesh on its thigh. The Gemara answers, it has a protrusion, but that protrusion is not rounded. Hence, or thus, not a spoon. Not considered a spoon. Boy Rav Yirmiyah Islay le'oif ve'agil Itle lebehema velo agil mai Batar dide azlinan o batam mine azlinan teiku. Rav Yirmiyah, Rabbi Jeremiah raises a dilemma. If a bird has a protrusion on its thigh bone, and it is rounded, I remember this one. For a while, I was doing some tekus, and I remember this teku. This was like from earlier this year. I want to say this is one of the later ones, maybe March or April. Let's see. I'll tell you right now. It's the right here. It is. Here it is. Unbelievable. It's the 275th Teku. March 21st, Saturday, March 21st of 2026. And lo and behold, here it is. I had a project where I was doing all the Tekus of the whole Shas and finished it back in May. And this was in March 21st. Okay, now we're holding by August already. My goodness. Just about to July 31st. Okay, so now we're here with the actual Teku in the Chullin, and that we're actually here. And Boyer of Yirmiyah, Isleila of Ve'agil, Iles Leila Hema Velo Agil Mai. Pasadin de Azlina Masamina Azlinan Teku. Rabbi Jeremiah raises a dilemma. If a bird has a protrusion on its thigh bone and it is rounded, or an animal has a protrusion on its thigh bone but it is not rounded, what is the halacha? Do we follow it? Meaning, does the status of the sciatic nerve depend upon the physical properties of each particular animal, or do we follow its species so that the sciatic nerve of an animal is always forbidden and that of a bird is always permitted? Oh, so and then the fact that it has a spoon of a thigh, okay, it's a fluke, but we don't care about that because generally it doesn't. Kind of like a ben bakua in a way. I mean, it's kind of a stretchy analogy, but like generally you have to slaughter an animal, but once in a while a ben bakua is allowed because it's part of the mother. So maybe this is allowed because it's part of its species. That was my own commentary on it. But anyway, so the Gemara responds Teku. This is the 275th Teku. And after this point, there were 25 and then 17. What's 25 plus 17? 25 plus 10 is 35. Plus 7 is 42. There are 42 Tekus left until the end of Shas. Because there are 317 Tekus altogether. And so this is 275. This is 275. So there are 42 left until the end of Shas. The Mishnah states that the prohibition of the sciatic nerve applies to a late-term animal fetus in the womb. Rabbi Yehuda says it does not apply to a fetus, and its fat is permitted. Shmuel says when the Mishnah states and its fat is permitted, that it is according to everyone. The Gemara asks, and the fat of what? If we say that it is referring to the fat of a fetus, don't the Tanaim disagree about it, as it is taught in Brayta, the prohibition of the sciatic nerve applies to the late-term fetus, and its fat is prohibited. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Yehuda says that the prohibition of the sciatic nerve does not apply to a late-term fetus, and its fat is permitted. Rabbi Elazar, Amar Rabbi Yehoshua, machloikes beben tisha chai. V'olach Rabbi Meir l'shita asoi, Rabbi Yehuda l'shita asoi. Rabbi Elazar says that Rabbi Yehoshua says in explanation of the Brayta, this dispute applies to a 9-month-old, meaning a full-term fetus that remains alive after its mother has been slaughtered. And Rabbi Meir followed his general opinion in this regard, see 74a. As his fetus is considered a live animal independent of its mother, consequently it must undergo ritual slaughter in order for its meat to be permitted for consumption, and its fats and sciatic nerve are forbidden like those of any other animal. And Rabbi Yehuda followed his general opinion that such a fetus is not considered to live, considered a live animal, but rather part of its mother. Consequently, it does not require ritual slaughter, and its fats and sciatic nerve are permitted. But rather, perhaps Shmuel's statement was said with regard to the fat of the sciatic nerve, but the Tanaim disagree about this case, as well as the Tanaim Brayta with regard to the sciatic nerve. One scrapes around it to remove it entirely in any place that it is found in the thigh, and one cuts out its fat from its source, meaning even the fat that is embedded in the flesh. This is the statement of Rabbi Meir, and Rabbi Yehuda says one cuts out the nerve and fat so that they are level with the flesh of the thigh, but there is no need to scrape out the parts embedded in the flesh. Consequently, there is a dispute about the fat surrounding the sciatic nerve as well. Okay. The Gemara answers actually Shmuel was referring to the fat of the sciatic nerve, and Shmuel concedes that according to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, the fat surrounding the sciatic nerve is forbidden by rabbinic law but permitted by Torah law. As it is taught in the Brayta, its fat is permitted by Torah law, but the Jewish people are holy and treated it as forbidden. The Gemara infers what? Is it not that the Brayta is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who said that the fat is permitted by Torah law but forbidden by rabbinic law? Mimai dilma Rabbi Yehuda aval Rabbi Meir midiraisa nami asir. The Gemara challenges this. From where can it be proven that the Brayta is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir? Perhaps it is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, but according to the opinion of Rabbi Meir, it is even forbidden by Torah law. Lo so gedaite. Tanya gid anoshe michatei tachara b'chol makom shehu v'shav no mutal. Mai shema ladies leit chatita. Rabbi Meir v'komar shav no mutal. The Gemara rejects this challenge. It would not enter your mind as this Brayta is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, as it is taught in Brayta. With regard to the sciatic nerve, one scrapes around it to remove it entirely from any place that is found in the thigh, and its fat is permitted. The Gemara explains, whom Have you heard who holds that scraping is required? It is Rabbi Meir. And the brightest states that his fat is permitted. Consequently, Rabbi Meir must hold that the fat surrounding the sciatic nerve is permitted by Torah law and forbidden by rabbinic law. Amar Rav Yehuda b'Shmuel b'Malta, Rav lo yasot Torah ela kanoi shiboi ulamal eitzu v'Torah chayav aleh. With regard to the sciatic nerve, Rabbi Yitzchak bar Shmuel bar Marta says that Rav says the Torah prohibited only its thin, tendril-like nerve fibers that branch off and run alongside the sciatic nerve under the flesh. By contrast, the sciatic nerve itself, which is inedible and has no flavor, is therefore considered like wood rather than food, and it is not forbidden. Conversely, Ula says the sciatic nerve is inedible and has no flavor like wood, but nevertheless the Torah rendered one liable for eating it. Amar Abaye kapasid Ula mistav radi Amar Sheishis ba Amar Avasi chutin shebechelev asurin ve'ein chayavin alehen alma chelev Amar Rachman v'lo chutin hachanami gid Amar Rachman lo kan karnos. Abaye said it stands to reason that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Ula because Rav Sheshet said that Ravasi said the strands of veins that are in the forbidden fat are forbidden, but one is not liable for eating them. Apparently, when the Merciful One states in the Torah that it is prohibited to eat fat, the prohibition applies only to the fat itself, but not to the strands of the veins. Here also, the Merciful One states in the Torah that it is prohibited to eat the sciatic nerve, but that does not include the tendril-like nerve fibers. Gufa, Rav Sheshet Omer Ravasi, chutin shebechelev asurim ve'ein chayavin alehen. Shebakulya asurim ve'ein chayavin alehen. Lo ibn kulya Rabbi ve'Rabbi Chia chad asam chad shari. The Gemara now returns to the matter itself cited in the discussion above. Rav Sheshet said that Ravasi said the strands of the veins that are in the forbidden fat are forbidden, but one is not liable for eating them. The strands of veins that are in the kidney are forbidden, but one is not liable for eating them. With regard to the white fat of the kidney, there is a dispute between Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi and Rabbi Chia. One of them prohibits its consumption because it is similar to the fats that are prohibited by the Torah, and one of them permits eating it. Rabba mimar teitle, Rabbi Yochanan mimar teitle, Rabbi Asi gaim le, Omar Abaye kavasi derasi mistavra, the Omar Rabbi Abba, Omar Rabbi Yehuda Meshwel. The Gemara relates that Rabba would scrape every remnant of white fat away from the kidney. Similarly, Rabbi Yochanan would scrape it away from the kidney. By contrast, Rabbi Asi would cut it from the surface of the kidney, but would not scrape out the rest of it. Abaye said it stands to reason that the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of Asi, because Rabbi Abba said, Rabbi Yehuda said, that Shmuel said, okay, stop there.